Hi, I'm Will Brennan, natural lifestyle expert, founder of Desert Mountain Apothecary, and creator of Natural Lifestyle Optimization. Today, I wanted to share my 10 favorite shows to watch on TV that you might not have seen before that are really enjoyable and inspiring and uplifting, and a great break from day-to-day life. So first up is the series Blandings. Now, Blandings is based on the Blandings Castle series by writer P.G. Wodehouse, and it is set in the zany 1920s in the falling down ancestral estate of a minor aristocratic family. And they're all definitely misfits, and if you love P.G. Wodehouse novels, which are always so fun, and I just have such fond memories of those from childhood, you will just love this series. And best of all, the lead actress is Jennifer Saunders, who is Edina Monsoon of Absolutely Fabulous, and she is just fantastic as the matriarch of this misfit aristocratic family, and they get up to non-stop mayhem in the English countryside. And I just think that this series really hit its stride in the second and third season and just had me laughing and laughing and laughing. I hope they make a fourth season, but I don't think so. I don't think they will. Next up is Belgravia. So this is from the creator of Downton Abbey, Julian Fellowes. So I remember reading a couple years ago when they started production on this that he said this was the opposite of Downton Abbey, because in Downton Abbey the servants and the masters were friends, and here they're enemies and the servants are evil and they're plotting against the family and blackmailing them. So this is such a good series, and it really delves into the great societal change between the agrarian age and the age of the landed gentry and the industrial age and the new business class that came to be at that time. So it's a really good series, and anyone who enjoyed Downton Abbey will enjoy this very much. It's a great period piece. It's beautifully executed. The stage sets and costumes and acting and everything are just fantastic. So I enjoyed this so much. So I would definitely recommend this. Next, for a really different kind of show, is Too Hot to Handle. Now, this is a Temptation Island style reality series where all these sexy singles are brought to a beautiful beachfront resort. I think it's in Punta Mita in Mexico. It looks beautiful. So the twist is that all of these very randy, eager singles are put in a house where they are not allowed to have sex, and if they successfully abstain, they get a $100,000 prize, and for every infraction, every kiss and wiggle waggle gets thousands of dollars deducted from the prize. So it is such a good series, because what they do instead of hooking up is they try to put all of these real desperado Tinder swipers, and I think some of the guys are Grindr swipers. They try to put them through a personal development course, basically, and learn to find a sense of self and self-esteem outside of sex. And a lot of them do a fantastic amount of personal development, and two of them I really think found a love match and really will get married after this, because it was beautiful to see the development of their relationship. And I would actually watch that series again, because it made me feel so good to kind of prove what a small amount of personal development, what a great change that can affect on someone's life, and they're forever changed by it. So this is a silly 8-episode series that I just loved, and I really hope they do it again, because this was a great premise. Next up is The Windsors, and The Windsors is a satirical comedy that is based on the lives of the British royal family and their circles, and it is so funny because it is a ridiculous, slapstick comedy style satire, and so everyone is just the most exaggerated and most out of control version of themselves, and the posh accents are so funny. I think because they're such a well-known entity to us, and each of the members of the royal family is someone that if you follow them, you feel like you know them so well and their mannerisms so well because they're a permanent fixture in the public realm. So, for example, the actress who plays Fergie, to me, is the star of the show, and every time she pitches up out of nowhere and just comes out of a bale of hay or out of a closet to find her girls, she always comes into the scene with girls. And if you've ever seen Fergie, it's just so funny. And then in the third season, they replaced Prince Harry with a much, much better looking actor after he's married Meghan Markle and gone to a wellness retreat in California. He's mysteriously so much better. And then the actor that played Prince Harry before is one of the lead actors in Belgravia, so I guess he left for that. So The Windsors is just uproariously hilarious, and it is so disrespectful to the royal family. And they really get into the goings-on, like Epstein and the feud between Will and Kate and Harry and Meghan and moving to America, and it's so hilarious. And it could go on forever. As long as the British family is there, it could go on forever. Next up, much more highbrow viewing, is Grand Designs, and Grand Designs is a fantastic series. The original is from the UK, and there is also Australian, New Zealand, and international editions. And what I love so much about Grand Designs is that it shows building projects from start to finish and really, really gets into the lives and the struggles and the overcoming of obstacles that these owner-builders go through to get to that final endpoint of a finished home. And they don't all get to it either, and it doesn't sugarcoat it, and they follow these people sometimes for years, sometimes almost a decade. It's really, really fascinating, and it's so interesting because there's so many different building methods and building styles that we don't have prevalent here in the United States. So I love every single edition of Grand Designs. They're all fantastic and worth watching. And there's actually, I think, been 15 years of the various shows in their various countries. So it is definitely worth a look. Next up is The Halcyon. The Halcyon is a story based around a grand hotel in London owned by an aristocratic family during the London Blitz. So this story is about how people got on with their lives and faced adversity during the Blitz and actually lived in London while it was being bombed every night. I mean, I cannot imagine the terror of sleeping in an underground bunker every night and not knowing even during the day when the bombs would go, and you'd have German planes flying over the city. It is so inspiring to think about the hardships that people went through in that day and age to maintain normalcy. And what we're going through now is comparatively a lot easier than that, I think you would have to admit. Next up is Sanditon. Now, Sanditon is a historic period drama that was based on Jane Austen's last and unfinished novel. Now, what I love most about this particular story, and I'm a huge lover of Jane Austen, Jane Austen wrote that with her last novel, I've tried to remember the quote. She said that a novel's premise does not have to make sense, it just has to have one. And that sense of freedom permeates this entire series because no, the premise doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but once it comes together and the story sets in motion from that nonsensical premise, the story is wonderful. And I absolutely loved this adaptation of Sanditon, and I thought the acting was great, and it just had a realness and such an enjoyable story, and I just loved the whole progression, and it must have been so interesting to do a historical period piece on a story that was unfinished. So that is definitely one to check out. Next is Indian Summers. This was one of the most beautiful period pieces I have ever seen. The settings, the natural settings, the homes, the stage sets, the hairstyles, the implements and glasses, and the costumes were so perfect to the 1930s aesthetic. I'm a huge lover of Art Deco, the interwar period, and the Jazz Age, and that aesthetic to me is the highest of elegance and style and sophistication that the human race has attained. And we've only gone backwards from there, in my opinion. But that is a fantastic series that chronicles the British Raj, the bureaucracy of the colonial administration of India, apparently migrated every single summer from the different regional capitals up to the foothills of the Himalayas to run the empire of India from there to get away from the heat. I guess it was good enough for all their subjects, though. I don't think they went to the Himalayas every summer. So this is really about the twilight of British colonialism in India, and it's really interesting because it goes into the emotional attachment and the lives of many British families that lived in India for generations. And although they always were British and they would throughout their lives be sent back to England, many of them kept returning because they loved India so much. And as part of the colonial administration, they wanted to put some sort of dignified end to colonialism, something that expressed their love of that country, because they knew that it couldn't last much longer, and they were absolutely right. It did not last much longer. And the political violence leading up to the independence of India is really where the story goes. So this is a fascinating period piece about the twilight of colonialism, the end of the British Empire, and India in the Art Deco Jazz Age. So definitely worth a look. Next is the period piece Harlots. Now this is one of my favorite series that I've watched, and this was called The Ultimate Bodice Ripper. So you know, a bodice ripper is like a historic drama with, you know, lots of body drama and intrigue. So this absolutely delivered. This is the tale of two rival houses of ill repute and two rival madams. So it is fascinating because it actually mirrors the events of the Jeffrey Epstein trial, where there's it's just heartbreaking that this is still going on to this day, but there's a murder ring of aristocrats who always need new victims, just like, you know, allegedly what happened, well, just like mirroring the Epstein case. And all of these circles of the most powerful men on the planet who have these dark, murderous tastes, and apparently that's nothing new. And so it's fascinating to watch these women, because in a way they were some of the very few liberated women who had a degree of control and business enterprise in their lives. So this is fascinating. There's 3 seasons. Lady Sybil from Downton Abbey is one of the main characters, and the acting is just fantastic. I mean, this is they really act their hearts out in this, and really plumb the depths of their emotions in this series. And I just cannot recommend this more. The stage sets are great, the costumes are great, the acting is great, and they have a fantastic contemporary soundtrack that really keeps things going, really keeps the energy up. So this is a great series. I would love it if they could do a season 4. Lastly is the period drama Aristocrats. Now this is a very, very expansive drama that followed the sometimes very long lives of the Lennox sisters, who were daughters of the Duke of Richmond. And this is really fascinating because this is in this period, which is the traversing the late 18th to 19th centuries, there was a huge transformational change in the United Kingdom, and this period piece actually culminates in the Irish Revolution. So it's very, very interesting. Like I said, very expansive. It chronicles these women's lives and their families' lives and all of the different events, world events, for almost 80 years. So three generations of lives. So this is really fascinating. This is a wonderful, beautifully done period piece, beautiful sets, beautiful costumes, and I really, really recommend that. So as you can see, I love period pieces. I love to be transported to a different day and age, and I love learning about history. I love seeing the costumes and the stage sets, especially when they're actually filmed at manor houses and beautiful locations. And I think that's a lot better than watching cable news. So if you are watching cable news, those are 10 series that you can watch that will be way better for your mind, body, and spirit than just blah, 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 blah from the talking heads. So once again, I am Will Brennan, natural lifestyle expert, founder of Desert Mountain Apothecary, and creator of Natural Lifestyle Optimization. Thank you so much for joining me today, and all I can say is hang in there.